Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Xeno Mustache, and welcome. Today I want to be showing you this cool thing that I made, which is infinite power using resin from thermal expansion. It is using these arboreal extractors to extract resin, which is being stored in these refined storage computers, and then turned into tree oil by these fractionating stills, and the tree oil is being pumped out into these compression dynamos. Now, there are multiple different trees that can produce resin. These are all the trees from Biomes of Plenty. The current trees in the game that can produce resin are spruce and fir. They produce the most. There are other trees. I don't mean to say that those are the only trees in the game that produce resin, but those are the ones who produce the most at 100 millibuckets a tick. Now, the mangrove tree produces resin as well, and is bigger than the other trees that produce resin, and so it has more connection points for the arboreal extractors to gain resin from. This entire setup can be created using only thermal expansion. However, here you see I'm using blocks from multiple different mods, including refined storage, flux plugins, or flux networks is what it's called, nuclear craft, and that's about it, I think, in this setup here. I'll be showing you how to assemble it in completely using thermal expansion without the use of other mods, and things you can use to essentially get the same effect of these blocks using only thermal expansion. So let's get to it. Now, once you have your trees set up, this is a 4x3 setup with trees, spruce trees, with 4 aqueous accumulators on each one. This is an easy one to set up, and I use spruce trees because they are only 1 block wide and 1 block long, so they are pretty easy to set up. You just put 4 of them on each side. Now, with this sort of setup, I recommend using 3 fractionating stills. This should be enough to process all of the resin that comes out of it, and produce plenty of tree oil to power the compression dynamos. Now we just pipe these all up. Do note that all of these fractionating stills will need power to actually process the resin into rosin and tree oil. So my recommendation here is to have a steam dynamo. I will need a crescent hammer here to turn it. Let's have it facing this way. We can also use some leadstone conduits. They are very basic and easy to make. We can use those to power it. And we can use an aqueous accumulator to give ourselves infinite water. Water on each side. We simply need to pump it out into steam dynamo. This will need a fuel source. Coal is easy to get and is pretty produces plenty of power. So once we have these going, they should start producing rosin once they have sufficient power. Now, this compression dynamo isn't going to produce a whole bunch of power, but it should get the ball rolling. Now, we are going to need an output for the tree oil. So we'll just go ahead and pipe it out from the bottom. We'll set it up to do so. And for the rosin that is produced, we are going to need an item duct. Just use a regular item duct, and we can just use we could just keep it in for now, I guess, but you can use other mods to get rid of it as well, and I'm sure there's a thermal expansion thing here, like a void block, but right now I'm not going to get into that. So the compression dynamo here, we will set them up. This is the easiest way, in my opinion, to set up the compression dynamo. Again, we are going to need aqueous accumulator here. because these also require water to power, we will pump the water in from the bottom of each one. Which side is that, do you think? I think that's the back. There we go. Okay, so these aqueous accumulators, will be again filling these up. Now they need tree oil. We can use this side to give each of them tree oil. Can use the crescent hammer to make it look nicer. And we can go ahead and start using the tree oil we pumped out from here and pipe it right into here. As you can see, it goes ahead and it begins to produce power. Now we need to get this power out using these cool leadstone conduits. And we can combine them. And now we should replace the power that we're giving these over here with the power of our resin. There we go. And now we no longer need this setup here, and the entire process should be self-sufficient. See, as it's filled up the entire thing, and it produces tree oil. Now, as you progress and you want to upgrade your power system, you may want to upgrade these to hardened and add augments to increase the speed at which they work. You may also want to upgrade these to hardened or beyond, so they produce more power for operation. And that's about it. Now if we go over here and we look at this setup, this is a pretty ideal setup. It produces tons of power. This is about 52 spruce trees. Each one of these has 4 arboreal extractors, as I've explained before, with 6 fractionating stills. And if I remember correctly, there are 40 compression dynamos here. Maybe there's more. I can't remember. This was a while ago when I made this. Each one of these is getting all of that tree oil and all of that water from there, and it's producing about, let's see, 120 RF each. So that is a lot more than a basic fission reactor setup. Each one of these compression dynamos is resonant, given, but a basic one, just basic compression dynamos, also they only produce 40 RF per tick. That is still more than a fission reactor from nuclear craft. In my testing, I have stockpiled all this energy. I've compared the two, and it seems that this is the best option. This uses limited resources. This uses infinite resin, which is gained from these trees, which never stop producing. So, therefore, this is the best option if you're starting out the game. Obviously, fission reactor can be expanded, and it can produce a lot more RF per tick. Now, when I did my testing, I only used TBU fuel and the basic uranium fuel. That is obviously, these are the least amount. These are the least effective fuels, and there are better ones out there. When it comes to these trees, Biomes of Plenty trees that have oak tree, or oak wood, I mean to say, will only produce sap. Other trees will produce water or other fluids, if I remember correctly, but most of them only produce sap. These trees are from Thaumcraft. They do not produce anything. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to show you. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you found this video informative, and I hope that you you apply Resin to create your own power system. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.